What's going on, guys? It's Jared here, and today I'm going to bring you another installment of Know Your Matchups. This time, I am going to be going through Thunder Dragon. Now, for those of you who do not know how I do know your matchups, it's not how to beat Thunder Dragon, it's more of how the core cards of a deck fare against the different types of matchups it will go against at a competitive event. So, this past weekend, YCS London took place, that Sky Striker won. So call me by surprise, but it is how it is. So moving forward, I'm going to be break down the event that I'm going to be covering and then go through every matchup from the top 32 to pretty much know what you would do or a game plan generally of how you would play Thunder Dragon against those matchups. So YCS London, Sky Striker won. Very surprising. The full breakdown of YCS London was there was 14 Orcus decks in top 32, 7 Salamangreat, 3 Thunder Dragons, 3 Sky Striker, 2 Grand Maju, 2 Lunalight Orcust, 1 True Draco, and 1 Infernoid. I still cannot believe that Sky Striker won, but oh well, it is what it is. I think people just weren't prepared for it. They weren't ready for the full back row decks yet, and they just kind of let it slide. But I mean, 14 Orcus is a lot, with plus the 2 Lunalight Orcust. So I'm kind of just going to clump those together. So we'll just say it'd be 16 Orcus decks instead of 14. So obviously, that's if you're going to a competitive event, that's the deck you're going to want to be ready for. So how do you beat Orcust? You know, like how would you get around the cards? So obviously, it's a terrible matchup when you think about it because Dingrissu is so hard. That card is ridiculous. He'll send away your 2 best cards that you play, which is Colossus and Titan, obviously. So you need ways to kind of move around Dingrissu or go for an OTK. Now, I don't know if you guys have been following with the Thunder Dragon builds recently that have showed success. Most of them have been choosing to go second. And if you've been looking at the builds more closely, I guess, you can tell that the hand traps that they're choosing to play have been really, really impactful. It's not like an Ash Blossom, which is like 1 negate, or an Impermanence, which is 1 hit. They're still really good cards, but they're not impactful enough to really shift a full matchup into your favor. It's going to last multiple turns. So you see cards like Phantasma, which can shift your hand and draw to your power cards, like Lancia, which would obviously extremely help in the matchup because they can't play for a turn. You can just come back and OTK them. Dimension Shifter, obviously they still can't play for a turn. Nibiru, you just end the main phase it. They end on an open board pretty much, and it just sets you up perfectly for an OTK. So hand traps like that are the ones that you want to probably focus on, in my opinion, in a going second build, because you need to be able to push through Orcust rather than try to make a board, because they're going to break the board. They don't search, so Colossus is not going to do enough. Titan, it's not the best, because if they activate Babel, or if they resolve Galatea, if they have ways to chain around it, they have instant. There's a bunch of stuff to get around the Thunder Dragon cards, and I don't even think that, looking at the event that just happened, I don't even think that Thunder Dragon going first is that great unless you're playing something else with it. You need another contrary engine that will make it work better and better ending boards, because right now the best thing I can come up with, you can end on IP, Colossus Titan, or if you open up like Solar Hawk, I know it's like the normal combo for like everything, you can go like Appaloosa Titan, Hawk Solar is also full BOS link, Titan Colossus. Like there's a lot of stuff you can do going first, but it's not good enough, I guess, is the way I'm trying to say it. So yeah, Orcus is definitely hard. You want to side deck into more impactful hand traps like Lancia too. Like just you need to shut them off for a turn pretty much. Cards like Some Summoner to float into Dragon Roar, that can really stall out the game and put you in a better position to set you up for the following turn. Because like the fusions aren't going to do enough, so sometimes I don't even think it's worth it to go in the Colossus with Summoner. It could just be more optimal to keep Some Summoner out and then to go right into Dragon Roar to float so they can't Dingrissu with TK with Borosaur and stuff like that. Instant Fusion, obviously, Ousting Grissu. It's like the one card they have to crescendo it in the Thousand Eyes. But it's also a starter card, obviously, with Kaminari attack. So, I mean, super, super good. At the end of every single one of your turns, especially against the Orcus deck, or the Lunalight Orcus build, they're going to be able to play, like, really, really good for every turn because of the Lunalight engine is, like, kind of ridiculous with Tiger. So you always want to end with Thunder Dragon Fusion in your graveyard. You need to be able to constantly be able to play the next turn. It's really hard to keep up with that deck, I've noticed. They just keep recurring resources and resources and resources, and then you're kind of doing the same thing, but the way they do it is, like, it's really ridiculous. So you can keep making Colossus and Titans, but like I said, they don't do much against cards like Dingrissu. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Orcus. It's a bad matchup, to be honest, but, you know, there is unfair cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That can put it into your favor, like Shifter, Lancia, Nibiru, Phantasmia if you have them. I think Cosmic Cyclone is another really good card. It pretty much answers all the interruptions that it can have. So if they end with the Grissu Engrave with Babel, you just activate Cosmic, they have to do it then. Or they end a Crescendo, you Cosmic it, they have to do it then. Like I said, it's really, really, like, it just outs everything that they can possibly do. So I think Cosmic's almost a must-have right now in some kind of whatever deck you're playing in whatever list. Yeah, so that's it for Orcus. Next is Salamangreat. Salamangreat, on the other hand, I think is very different. I think Titan is not the best in that. I think Colossus shines a lot more. So I think after the previous ban list, where Gazelle went to 1, Circle went to 1, the deck became a lot more dependent on cards like Signet Mining. So Colossus, if you go first, is a, you know, big hit to them and their consistency, because you take 4 cards that get to their power cards right out of the deck. They can't activate Foxy, you know. There's a lot of really good stuff you can hit with it. Obviously, Dimension Shifter, big hit. They can't play. Literally, they can't play for a turn. Nibiru and the main phase Nibiru them. That's why I play these two in the main deck personally. They're the most impactful against the majority of the meta, which, according to London right now, is Orcus and Salamangreat. So these two are most impactful. You choose to go second. You hit them hard on their turn 1 so they can't play, and then you keep going from there. Other than that, Salamangreat is pretty straightforward. You're trying to break the boards. Like I said, Cosmic Cyclone, same thing. Target the Roar, banish it, go through. Instant Fusion, Thousand Eyes, take the Sunlight Wolf, go through. The Blackluster Soldier is very hard to out in terms of Salamangreat because they can't get over it very well. Wolfenstein, I think, got a lot better with IP Masquerade, I think her name is, just came out. I think that really, really makes the Woof a lot better because you're opening up like a Woof and Dark or Matrix even, or Roar. They all really, like, it makes a better ending board overall. It's the same thing, you know, obviously if you don't open up this card, Salamangreat has a very good grind game. So if they have a good grind game, you need ways to kind of, you know, fight back. To keep grinding out in case the game goes past 2 turns. Again, Thunder Dragon Fusion. I think after every single one of your turns past turn 1, this card should be in your graveyard. Be ready to fix your hand and be a constant threat to the opponent they want to deal with, to waste a resource on. And if they don't, they get punished for it every single turn. And that's kind of the big thing about this deck, in my opinion, is that because you play this and this, you play them. I personally play this at 3 and this at 3. You have a lot of resource game, and if you use all of them, you know, you can just activate Roar from hand, discard it, put this back to your hand, activate it again. You have infinite resources. Like, there's games where I've desired twice and go down to like 5 cards in deck, but I have like my key pieces out. I have this out, a Dark out, Hawk out, and you can just recycle infinitely, and you always end on something good. So yeah, like I said, Salamangreat, go first, this, into Colossus. Second, you hit them with the big hand traps, and you're kind of just going with the OTK, and a lot of times you can play through it. And even sometimes against Salamangreat, I know there's the train engine where you can go end on double Titan, and then overlay them for Gustav Max, detach, deal 2,000, then make, I forget the train's name, it goes over Gustav Max, gains 2,000, can attack monsters twice. So you hit like Sunlight Wolf and Jack Jaguar, Mirage Stalio, and most of the time it's just game. That's up to you if you want to play that engine in your deck. So yeah, that's just my opinion on Salamangreat. Next up is Thunder Dragon and Sky Striker. So the mirror and Sky Striker. I'll talk about Sky Striker. I think that's more interesting than the mirror, personally. Sky Striker obviously won the event, so you have to take it very seriously now. But in my personal opinion, I think it's just a back row deck where if you just play your cards right, you pretty much will be in an advantageous position. So cards like, you're playing Thunder Dragon, so you can play Denko Sekka. When they end on, you saw the winner was playing, a bunch of trap cards. And not really many outs to Denko when you drop it on their back row. So yeah, you can probably just OTK them through Ray, because it's not that hard after you drop a Denko. Cards like Cosmic Cyclone hit the multi-roll if they go big on it, or just even sniping back rows. The winner was, I'm going strict off the winner's list on this. The winner was playing Compulsory Activation Device, so that just outs these like it's nothing, and it puts you pretty far behind if it goes through right. Shifter hurts it because they can't get their pluses off engages, and Nibiru doesn't do anything, which sucks. So you have to side it out immediately for, more relevant cards such as Twin Twister, Denko, whatever else, other back row cards you play. Everyone plays different stuff. Again, Blackluster Soldier, it's really hard to out. It's just that card that's, you can make it, I have it out here because I feel like you can make it in this deck the easiest. And it really is a pain in the out. So sometimes if they make you go first, that's where I said the Hawk Solar play. You make this, and this, and it puts them in a really awkward spot. Obviously, if they go first, making Colossus is good. Can't engage you. That's one of their biggest resource games. You can play through a lot of stuff pretty easily because you play a lot of big monsters. You just keep beating over the Rays and the Shizukus and the Kagaris and the Hayates and all that stuff. And even if they go, Hayate, sometimes you got to eat it in the face, but if you have Titan on the field, you can sometimes, avoid it if you have Matrix or Dragon Dark in your hand. I can't stress enough how good Thunder Dragon Fusion is with the resource game, once again, because obviously everyone knows Striker is a big resource commitment game. You're grinding out. So I think if there's one matchup that's most important in, it's probably this one to get that engraved. And start doing the loop combo. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Striker. It's nothing crazy anymore. It's just more of a trap deck, if anything. Like, I wouldn't even consider it a spell deck anymore. It's a trap deck that just has a spell engine that gets it going really, really fast and gets a lot of pressure and a lot of advantage. I guess that's the best way I can describe it in my head. But yeah, it's definitely, I guess from this perspective of today, not completely dead, as I originally thought it was, but I guess be ready for it, but it's pretty much just normal back row deck siding. And then from the other deck that had 3 spots of representation was Thunder Dragon. So the mirror match, again, impactful cards. Nibiru, that's going to do the work. Shifter is obviously not good in the mirror, but you can sign cards like Super Poly and stuff like that to really get in there, but it's kind of a grind game as long as you're not getting OTK'd. Titan's really, I want to say, the important card of the matchup. So you really need to know how to use this card. It's important to know that if you have a Titan and they activate something in hand, that you get priority to pop before their Titan does. So if it's Titan versus Titan and they activate Hawk, you chain your Titan to the Hawk. They don't get to chain theirs. That's really important to know. So you can't just, don't let your opponent try to get you like that. Your Titan can go first. Cards like Duo, really, really strong in the matchup. Being 28, that's big. The only thing bigger than it is Titan. So, you can really get around it. And Nibiru is, if you're dropping this, you should probably be winning that turn. The following turn, I guess, to be able to OTK them. Because if not, they're going to... Thunder Dragon's really resilient to getting hit by, stuff like that and can bounce back easily. So you need to really end the game quick in the mirror. Obviously, they're going to be trying doing the same to you, so you got to play cards or play your resources right. Like I said, I'm personally a fan of the Summoner into Roar. It's really hard to kill you through that. Borlo Dragon's very good. Boral Sword is also really good because Titan can't kill it. They activate Titan, you just chain Boral Sword, or if they activate it on their in hand, you chain Boral Sword to turn some into defense mode, and then they can't use Titan. So it's kind of more of a less a grind game between Titans and defense mode, to be honest. That's always the way I've seen it, or the way I've played it. That's what it seems like, which is fine. It kind of reminds me of almost the Burning Abyss mirror in like 2015, where you're just sitting in Dante's and Beatrice in defense mode. But yeah, just play cautiously with your Titans, and that's pretty much it, to be honest, for the mirror match. The next spot would be Grand Maju. You're playing your cards in defense mode for most of the game, so you don't get randomly blown out. It's the best way I can put it. Titan's going to be your best friend forever in that matchup, I'd say. They don't really add cards from their deck to their hand, so Colossus isn't going to do much. As you can probably tell, running through this, Titan seems to be the #1 option for most of the time. Because it really is. Titan, in my opinion, is better than Colossus. In this current format, I think it's better than Colossus. That's just my opinion. Being able to pop stuff, especially with the Grand Maju, if they go big with it. Obviously Titan's ridiculous. Nibiru, if they go a bunch of danger stuff, it can just win you a game. Shifter, you're kind of helping their game plan. I suggest signing it out. So you're going to want to do that. That's it for Grand Maju. You just want to keep stuff in defense mode. And the last two are True Draco and Infernoid. So moving on from Grand Maju, we're going to go to True Draco. True Draco pretty much, I would say, follows almost the same rules as Sky Striker, but they play more floodgates, things that'll hurt you a lot more. So you can consider things such as Denko Sekka when you're putting them in, but I really recommend Twin Twister, Cosmic Cyclone, stuff like that. You need to be able to out. There can only be one. You need to be able to out Monarch's Erupt. You need to be able to out things like that. Obviously, that's where Colossus shines. It's a matchup such as that. Because they can't use Diagram. They can't use Majesty Maiden. They can't use their dualities. So yeah, like, obviously it hurts them a lot. If you can get them in a good spot for Titan, that's also really good. Because you can just start popping the back row away like it's nothing. This is easy to out because of cards like True Draco Apocalypse. I always recommend going Colossus. It's really hard to out these in True Draco because they're so big. They have a protection effect. Your biggest enemy is going to be Erupt. But if you I think the best way to play it is you save cards such as Cosmic Cyclone for specifically Erupt. I think you'll be fine. There can only be one Hertz, but it's also where cards like Ilufu Flying comes in because it's a beast, so it allows you to make Nightmare Phoenix really easily, or Unicorn. So maybe Instant Fusion not Thousand Eyes. You can even take their guy and then make Nightmare Phoenix. So that outs there can only be one. So it's not impossible to play under those cards, but it's definitely harder. You just gotta play conservatively. Like I said, so this will get sided out. Shifter's pretty strong. I'm not gonna say it's the best, but it's pretty good. There's probably better things than it, but it's not like it's a do nothing card game one. It stops them from trying to pop your cards. So I can't say it's completely dead. It also stops their heritage draws, stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for True Draco. Normal stuff. Save your Twin Twisters and Cosmics. Don't just blow them on True Draco spells or Diagram, stuff like that. That's not what's going to lose you the game. What's going to lose you the game is cards like Erupt, and there can only be one. Skill Drain, other floodgate cards like that. So yeah. And the last deck in the top 32 of YCS London was Infernoid. So Infernoid's a weird deck. It always has been, it always will be. I believe when I looked at the list, the Infernoid deck was a going second build. So, you're not going to know that game one, obviously. But if you know you're going up against Infernoid, I'm going to keep pointing the Shifter because it's, really, really strong against Infernoid and not getting their stuff in the graveyard. When things like Monster Gate, you just change Shifter, and that's kind of the end of that. Nibiru, I don't really think they summon more than 5 times, so it'd probably get sided out. You just gotta make sure to do what you gotta do before they summon either Deviati Anunku or Dekatron, either one of them, to get negates going, because then it starts getting kind of annoying. You have to assume that Thunder Dragon Fusion is never going to be in your graveyard on your turn, because they're going to keep banishing it with their Infernoid monsters, so you can't expect this to be here pretty much. So you need to be able to, I mean, it's nice you can play it, because they have to dedicate a resource to keep banishing this every turn, which after like 2 or 3 turns, it causes, you know, problems in their resource game, because they keep burning them on summoning Infernoid, attribute it to banish something. But once they get Lair out, then it becomes a big hassle, because then they can start tributing off your Colossuses, Titans, and whatever else you have to banish your relevant cards like Thunder Dragon Fusion and stuff like that. Obviously, they're never going to banish stuff like Roar, Hawk, Matrix, or Dark, because, you know, they're not going to give you the free advantage. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Inferno now. Think about it. I mean, it's nothing crazy. They don't add cards, so Colossus isn't that good. You probably want to go Titan most of the time, because they're not. It's pretty hard to out without Lair. I don't think they're gonna have a way to out it. You have to just drop Titan in defense mode, and you should be fine. They have to probably Sights to miss it. That's probably the only out. They have to crash it. So maybe, I'm thinking about it now, probably Titan in attack mode would be the best way to do it, so that, and like just Titan in attack mode, because you don't want them to go Sights to miss, attack another monster, and then end a battle phase, banish it with Titan, banish a Titan with it. So if you leave the Titans in attack mode, they obviously they hit it with Sights to miss, it just dies and they don't get the effect. Pretty self-explanatory stuff. There's not really cards that are going to be like outstanding in the matchup. Like, I think this card's really good because it's kind of like just drop a 28 beat stick for out of nowhere, so they can't like prepare for it. They can't chain the Infernoid monsters to it. I think in that matchup's boosting up cards with Matrix is going to be really strong, because they can summon bigger guys. So I feel like Matrix is like really, really good in that, and where you can boost up Colossus to 31. That's like a big number, where none of the Infernoids can get around it. So it comes to a point where they have to dedicate a lot of resources into dealing with things that you put out with a very minimal effort. So I think as long as you don't get OTK'd, you should be fine. I guess another point I wanted to make with Matrix is it's really good in the mirror match too. Because it's a permanent gain, so when you have a Titan on the field and you put it at 37, that's really hard to out. And if your Titan is already there on the field, and then they make their Titan, if yours is already boosted, you can just beat over their Titan because it can't protect it by battle. So if you established your Titan first and boost it first, them getting their Titan and boosting it is really, really hard, because your Titan triggers to pop their Titan, and it just, especially if you have like an Matrix in hand, you just keep cranking up the same one. That's probably realistically is like probably a win condition in the mirror match if you keep boosting the same Titan over and over and over again. So again, that's where using fusions and stuff like that to keep recycling is really, really strong. I recommend Appaloosa in this deck. It's really easy to make. Obviously, we know Solar, so I can't say Solar Hawk enough. But it really is that strong. So I think with that pretty much goes over the entirety of YCS London, how Thunder Dragon pairs with most of the matchups. It's kind of sad to see that only 3 Thunder Dragon tops. I thought it was going to be more. It didn't get touched. Other decks did get touched. But, Orca still reigns supreme because it has that, like I said in the very beginning, it has that very, good matchup against Thunder. So I think you need to play, like I said, unfair cards to make a unfair matchup more fair in your favor. Cards like, these two, obviously, I said Lancea before, but even those 1 interrupt hand traps that you would output in the side deck, I think DD Crow is outstanding in this matchup, and not the matchup, but even in the format in general. DD Crow is really, really strong. You can, against the second, even obviously Orcos is really strong. Against Salamangreat, it's super, super strong. Striker, you can hit the Ray and push for game. Just a lot of applications for a DD Crow right now. So, and it's, has a plus IV in Dark for lore. So, in some matchups where Nibiru doesn't shine, Crow might shine, you get even a lore target. There's just a lot of really good applications for it. So yeah, let's see, that's pretty much it. There's not really else I think I want to go over. You know, I guess some advice for the generic back row decks that seem to be doing, you know, decent now. You know, Salamangreat, ends on more back row with just a big resource game, Sky Striker, the True Draco deck, stuff like that. If you can end on Titan, and what's it called? Some Summoner. In their end phase, you get back Roar, or you get back Dark, sorry, off of Some, bounce it back, and then, discard it, get another Dark, pop another card, and then you pop a card with this, and then on your turn, you have, Dark in hand still, and you have, Matrix in hand, you set it up, you can use Hawk, you can use War, you use all this stuff in their hand, and you pop more back row, so you pop 2 cards on their turn, on their back row, and then on your turn, you should have no problem popping 2 to 3 more cards with the same Titan. So he's going to be your best friend in matchups like that. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You can comment to me what other decks you want to see, decks I want to talk about, decks I want to test out, more decks for the series, because I want to go over more and more and more decks, because I find the best way to know how to beat a deck is to play the deck itself. You find out more of its weaknesses. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and Jared's out.